Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Addison Willman with Martin Supply, and this is another episode of the Operate Better podcast, where, of course, we help you operate better. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine and a very experienced member of our safety team here, Malcolm Ritchie. Malcolm, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good morning, Addison. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm Malcolm Ritchie. I'm with Martin Safety Supply. I've been with them coming on 30 years soon. And, basically it is what it sounds like. I do all things safety, OSHA compliance. I go out and I audit facilities for OSHA compliance and try to find non-compliance issues and hazards and dangers. And I do a lot of safety training too at various plants and facilities throughout the United States.
Right. We have a full list of all the different services and trainings that you provide over on our website. That's martinsupply.com. Make sure to go pay us a visit. But today we're talking specifically about powered industrial trucks and forklift training. So, I've actually been to a couple of your forklift trainings to just kind of watch and see what you do. And I can tell you from experience, they're very thorough. What type of topics are you covering? And is a training like that required for any employee or any employee specifically that's going to be driving a forklift?
Yes, well, we're going on about 25 years, 26 years now. In the year 2000, OSHA passed, or ANSI passed, and OSHA and started enforcing in January 2000 the powered industrial truck training requirement. This comes from Title 29 CFR Code of Federal Regulations 1910.178. That's a mouthful, but just in case you want to look it up on the OSHA.gov website, 29 CFR 1910.178. And that is the powered industrial truck or forklift law, you might say, or forklift standard. And it covers all kind of things. You have to talk about, your well, first of all of your employees have to be trained. Even if they drive a forklift once a year, they have to be trained before they get up on that forklift. And the training itself covers seat belts and lifting the load, carrying the load, setting down the load, the forklift inspection, also the architecture of your building, the type of forklift you have and its controls and so forth. And you have to cover all of that. You have to be very thorough. Can't be in general. And then obviously there's all kind of documentation that employees have to sign off on. They have to take a written exam and pass it. And lastly, they have to do a demonstration of their skill in an obstacle course.
Right. And like you mentioned, some of these topics are literally tailored to the facility that these people are going to be working in. So,
Exactly.
tell me, when you go into a customer's facility and sit down with everybody who's going to be trained that day, what does your process look like? How long does it take? And kind of just take me through what that day looks like.
Well, you've got initial training and then you got, renewal training. First of all, I'm going to concentrate on the initial training, the full class. Um, this training, once it's taken and once the forklift operator passes it, that training's good for 3 years. They get a license and they do get a certificate. We go in, everybody sits down. I want to ascertain, what type of experience they have, what type of lift trucks they have. We pass out paperwork and we go over site specific issues. I want to know what hazards are in that facility, and everybody in that class needs to be aware since they all work at the same place. Some may not be aware of hazards in another part of the building, but yet at some point they may have to drive over there with a forklift. So everybody needs to be on the same page and know what the site specific hazards are. Then OSHA requires a workbook, some sort of a regimen of training. I use a workbook. And the reason that I do, it's kind of a canned program. You can't miss anything. So if something ever goes to court, you can say, hey, this is our canned program. It's all the things that OSHA requires, A, B, C, D, E, and you can't miss anything. And we go over things like, you know, the inspection of the lift truck, which is vitally important. And they have to fill out a workbook. They have to watch a video that's related to that workbook. And then we go over several other topics: carrying the load, sitting down the load, driving forwards, driving in reverse if the load blocks your view, all those kind of good things.
Right. And, something I didn't realize, I figured, forklift training would be kind of cookie cutter, but it really does depend on the hazards in the facility and also even what, brand of forklift you're using. I figured a forklift was a forklift, but apparently they're very different.
That's correct. There's several different type of forklifts and several different brands. I won't mention the brands, but uh, there's like I say, several different types. There's one type that's almost like a tiller drive, like you're driving a boat. You turn it to the right and it goes left. You turn it to the left and it goes to the right. Has one wheel in the back and the operator stands up. And then you have several different other brands that are sit down brands. However, the controls are located in a different place on all these different brands. And that is why OSHA requires site specific training on the machines that you're going to be operating. It's not you're not supposed to go off site to a training place somewhere and drive their lift truck and then get back to your facility and you have a totally different lift truck because what you were trained on, may not relate to the one that you're going to be operating.
And you also mentioned a training course that you have to go through. As I understand it, that's kind of the last thing that you do. Is if you set up a training course and you make them run through it, what does that look like?
Yeah, once they go through the entire class, once they take the test, and we haven't graded the test at this point, we're still documenting every point of their training. This documentation the company keeps to prove they were thoroughly trained, and each portion of the documentation is a portion of the training. The very last thing, I go out, I show them the controls, demonstrate, and they have to drive an obstacle course. OSHA does not really have in stone how the obstacle course shall be set up. Um, I have two or three different ways. I set up road cones, I set up chairs, I set up garbage cans. I may even have an attendant to keep, if we're outside, say, to keep trucks and cars away from the area while we're operating the obstacle course. I have them, get on the lift truck, 3 points of contact, a foot and two hands. I'm grading the whole time. I'm check marking off. Yes, they buckled their seatbelt. They have to demonstrate for me, honking the horn, turning the lights on, actuating all the controls. And then they have to show me the lift, shift, tilt, that they know how to actuate that. Then I make them pick up a pallet with typically an empty box on the pallet. We don't want to damage, raw materials or finished goods. And then I have them drive forward and obviously miss the road cones and make sure they're turning at what we call the pivot point, turning and missing the road cones in the forward direction. Then I give them instructions to put it in reverse and drive around and traverse the course and miss the road cones that way. And if they do all of that, actuate all the controls, once they're done with that, I have them sit down the load, pull out from the load, put the forks with the tips touching so it doesn't create a trip hazard, and turn the machine off. And then 3 points of contact, dismount the machine.
All right. Like I said, very thorough. So that's pretty much all the questions I have for you here today, Malcolm. How if people want to bring you into their facility and get their own training scheduled, how can people reach out to you?
Well, they can get me through my email. I don't know if you're putting that across the bottom of the screen,
I
but
will.
okay, great. Or they can call me directly at 256-627-0804. That's my direct cell number. We can talk about it. Glad to. And I travel basically nationwide.
All right. Malcolm, thank you for all of the great information. Thank you for sitting down with me today. If you have any concerns or any questions, reach out to him anytime. You can also reach our main number. That's 800-828-8116. And please go to our website, martinsupply.com. Literally everything that we provide is over there. You can find it. I promise. Tons of great information over there, including articles, case studies, tons of other stuff. So again, Malcolm, thank you. And thank you all for watching. And we will see you in the next one.